All right, welcome everybody. We're getting right into the game. We're dropping down to the lower bracket where Native White and Proton Gaming are facing off, and Breaking Shot already, triple kill. Breaking Shot, you're supposed to let me get an intro in, but he's already popping off on the Slays instead.
And this was a matchup we really wanted to highlight here on LVT Halo. Two open bracket teams now trying to play deep into Saturday, maybe even a championship Sunday run. And I love that we've got Proton here, Magic, because on the LVT side, we've gotten to watch them really grow from the mid to latter part of Season 1 into Season 2. We've been watching them climb the ladder, breaking out, as we see Breaking Shot here, lining up that remote detonation, big brain play, repulsing the other grenade away. Oh my God, I love that sequence there from Breaking Shot as he plays it perfectly.
And you remember on the pre-show here, we got to hear from King J talking about the key for Proton was to keep that sniper out of Barcode's hands. And who's better hands to put it in instead other than Breaking Shot? He is 8-1. He was so hyped during the open bracket matches that he was losing his voice from cheering, from call-outs, from all of the comms. And whatever he's doing, it's working. Keep going, Proton.
A true underdog story here in Proton Gaming as they're going up against, that's a pretty stacked roster there in Native White. You've got the legend Mikwen over there and Barcode, who I got some flack for calling him like a mini Lucid, up-and-coming Lucid, but I stand by that. I think he has the skill, and it may not develop here this year. We got to play the long game, guys. We're going to be watching and playing Halo for decades and decades to come, and in that time, I really do believe Barcode could be up there with the Lucids in the next 3 to 5 years, but for now, we have this elimination round 1 matchup. Loser going home. And you have to imagine for both these two teams, despite making out of the open bracket, that's a little early as 3 go down for Native White. Breaking Shot and company looking really strong here as they start to put more points on the board.
I mean, we could, honestly, Mikowski, we could sit here and talk about like every player and their accomplishments and where their career is headed. But, you know, while we're talking about the players, we'll give them those highlights as we're able to. But the game is already underway. And I tell you what, this is shaping up to be a series. Both of these teams winning over leftovers through that open bracket qualifying. It was Native White in the upper bracket. And then it was Proton Gaming in a 3-0 sweep in the lower bracket of that open. And now Proton Gaming, they nearly have the second hill captured. That sniper still staying far and away from Barcode's hands.
Yeah, and that's especially huge because Proton Gaming scoring that first flag. They get the early rotation and all points on the board here. None for Native White. No one alive. Oh my God, killing frenzy for Breaking Shot as Barcode left to just anchor a spawn point for his team over at A, as it looks like Proton is about to go up 2-0.
Breaking Shot had some of the kills with the use of the sniper earlier, now using the heat wave, and a big key to why we see this 2-0 lead right now from Proton is holding on to those power weapons, keeping them away from Native White, and Breaking Shot is not done. Rotating through the bottom, that subway backing just out of range of a melee trade potential. Now the double kill, and they are storming for this third hill.
Breaking Shot quite literally breaking out here with a monster game in Game 1, 13 slays, 6 assists, 1 death, most kills, most assists, least deaths. That is the kind of performance you need to survive this brutal gauntlet of a lower bracket run.
Oh, turns away at the wrong second, takes a little bit of damage, but a quick adjustment. Has to play this a little bit safe, but the push is here, and the double kill in response. Breaking Shot is still spreeing. He has to back away from the hill. One player from Native White broke through that line. It's tapping buttons now on the run through bottom tunnel. The pivotal 1v1 and the running riot. Breaking Shot is popping off.
Running riot. Didn't think we'd see that on an HCS broadcast, an LVT Halo broadcast nonetheless, as the gold medal goes down for Breaking Shot, as he does too, finally stopping that spree. But Magic, after all is said and done, it's 16-6-2 for Breaking Shot and his team on the brink of a 3-0 lead. But just as I say that, Gilkey and company looking to bounce back, looking to put a little fight back in their step, as they have a potential, despite the run Proton just had, to make this a one-hill game.
Native White needing to lock down this hill, and finally with the power weapon to play that round of defense that they need. It had been Proton Gaming with the sniper, with the heat wave. Finally we see Gilkey sniper in hand against the heat wave of Commmon, but the team fighter's going to get the kill. This hill all but captured, getting Native White right back into this game.
And that sniper's coming up in 20 seconds. You cannot let Breaking Shot anywhere near it. You got to focus fire on that. You cannot let that sniper go back into the hands of Proton Gaming, because it looks like to me a little bit of that control now in the hands of Gilkey is one of the reasons why it is that one hill game now for Native White.
Yeah, the story of this game is the team that has the sniper under control has the hill captures. Haines gets a huge double kill right there to clear off the objective. And this is that 2-for-1 hill we talk about time and time again. Overshield spawning, tapping buttons is right behind the turbine. Breaking shot catches sight of him. Haines is the one credited with that kill, but there's 3 more players from Native White ready to fill in the hill, the overshield up for grabs. And here's that sniper in the hands of Mikwen.
A battle for hill and overshield simultaneously. Mikwen had the shot lined up, but it's the back that goes down. Oh my God, that's a huge sequence here, as it looked like Native White had enough with control of that sniper rifle. We mentioned they needed it, had enough to almost tie this hill, but it's almost tie this game, but it's Proton Gaming tying this hill and now regaining the lead.
Native White back in that familiar window side hold, which kind of cost them the control of the sniper earlier from the flank play.
Yeah, this is looking really mixy here. This is anyone's hill at this point, as Native White has the edge and possession of it now, but you have a sneaky Barcode, a sneaky beaver at that, as he gets the shot in the back of Posey. That's going to be a positioning slay for him. Didn't need the perfect shots, just needed to play smart. Halo gets the piv win there on breaking shot, and that's huge magic, because previous to this moment, he had been popping off. Now it's Barcode instead.
And he gets the assist as the hill comes through. That's 2 for 2 on both sides. We're going to that hill number 5. It's right out in the middle. It's going to be hard to capture, and all that much more important, Barcode's movement is crazy right now. He sidesteps the plasma pistol round, but there's 2 players rolling around through elbow. Commmon comes out with the double kill, sitting at 15 and 11. And here's breaking shot. We already saw one running riot, and now it's the plasma pistol in hand, looking to wreak some havoc.
All my metalheads in the chat, throw the horns up, start banging that head, because we've got a mosh pit hill here at top mid. Native White having a little bit of difficulty with the numbers advantage, but the turn, Mikwen, that's huge there. Just as it looked like he was about to go down, 3-1 favor for Proton Gaming. Instead, it's a 2-2 split. Now numbers advantage for Native White. Mikwen has to play this so strategically, so carefully. But the patience, the timing, the discipline is there for the veteran Mikwen, and so too is the double kill.
The re-engagement right there from breaking shot cost him his life. Mikwen didn't have much ammo left before needing to reload, but sliding back into that fight, Mikwen takes advantage with the perfect timing on the double kill. Look at this hill. It's all but capture for Native White. They lost the first 2, and they answer back with 3 in a row.
Wow. And that 16-2 start for breaking shot looks a little bit more like a double-edged sword because of the difficulty in maintaining that slaying prowess. At one point at an 8.0 KD, now dwindling down to a 3.0, which is still a great game, or below a 3.0. Still a great game, but it just goes to show what we saw from Proton was going to be very difficult for them to maintain. And it's a big reason why Native White are now in the lead.
Yeah, that stat line is great if you're in a team slayer, but there's only so many kills you can capture in the amount of time that you're getting 15 slays. And that's why you saw the early 2-0 lead, but it's not just sustainable for the rest of the game. What is he going to do? Go on another running riot off of that? What's a 30 spree? Is that what Proton Gaming needed? It's kind of looking like it, because Native White have this game locked down off of that difficult start.
Yeah. And with 2:15 left on the clock, this is one of the reasons why you're going to see Native White play for that 4th hill. They don't have the clock situation to play Slayer. Despite the 1 hill lead, they're going to have to continue to play for that OBJ. Earning themselves the slays for now as 2 go down for Proton Gaming. Barcode pushing it off that nest spot. He's not looking to anchor. He's looking to be aggressive here as he rushes in. And looks like Mikwen going to fill in behind him. Barcode now scoring instead. Great play.
Barcode, no sniper in hand, but we got the 3 repulses, and especially with this hill at the back of B, so much potential to utilize that piece of equipment. And here comes the push. It's a 2-2 pinch from Proton Gaming. 2 players rotating nest, 2 players rotating from sandbags, and that pinch trap is going to be enough to clear the hill and get some much needed time. But Proton, they can't allow 1 break in this hold. Native White are only a few seconds away from the game-winning capture. There's the repulsor in play.
Tapping buttons goes down first, but Proton Gaming go 3 down. 2 for Native White. This could provide the finishing touches as 4 go down for Proton Gaming and Magic. There's not a shot, no chance they come back from spawn as Native White look as good in the 4 hills they scored as Proton did with the 2 they scored. So a back and forth matchup there. Proton scoring the first 2, and then it's 4 uncontested for Native White as they take the series lead 1-0.
There's so much just from that first match to try to like break apart and dissect. I think that definitely Breaking Shot puts a target on his back, especially heading into a Game 2 Slayer. We know that he's capable of getting those slays, but I almost wonder if Proton Gaming showed their hand too soon, because now Native White, they can shut down Breaking Shot, and that's the half of the slays that went through.
Yeah, that's tough there. That's one that's going to really make you kind of like question, all right, what did we do wrong there? Because it looked like such a convincing win at one point. At one point, Proton had enough to go up 3-0. It looked like they were about to go up 3-0 on that overshield side, but my goodness, that first hill was the catalyst that Native White needed to put 4 on the board in a row, and such a wild, it was the exact opposite of what we saw from Native White at the beginning of the game. They brought to the end game, but as they say, it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
And I have to think that the pivotal, like the turning point in my mind, you referenced that that 4th hill rather, over on the overshield spawn. And it was when Mikwen lost overshield, but had the plasma pistol in hand. So instead of desperating for that overshield pickup, just aware, I have the counter to this overshield. Let them have it and then immediately negate that power up. I think it ended up leading to a double kill, but a key part of why you saw that 2-2 tie and started to spiral out of control. So big credit and props to Mikwen on just the heads up play, showing us the versatility and the adapting mid game that these teams are going to need, not just for this series, but if they're going to move forward, they need to make those mid match adaptions.
Absolutely. And for Mikwen, that was poetry in motion over there on the overshield. Imagine being within mere meters away from an overshield, someone with twice the shields that you have, and you still feel like you're in an even gunfight. That's the benefit you have. That's the strength of this Native White roster, being anchored by a top 25 all-time legend like Mikwen, and then he makes plays like that. It's no wonder why they had a little bit of difficulty online, but when you get guys like Mikwen to show up on land, it's a whole nother story.
And that's what we love to see. There's always a different story from online to LAN, and these two teams head to head, both coming out of the open bracket. And, you know, we really specifically wanted to highlight them because they haven't been on the broadcast yet. Open bracket doesn't have a broadcast. Pool play matches from earlier today weren't on the broadcast, including Proton upsetting Rebellion 3-1. This is these two teams' time to shine. Native White with that 1-0, that opening response, and it looks like they're starting to build off of that again. Whatever switch was flipped mid-game, it seems like power is still on.
Yeah, that was about as clean of a start as you could imagine there for Native White as they go 4-0. And you never even really saw Camo be much of a factor. That was just pure teamwork, coordination, communication, and some decent shots as now Native White has opened up a big lead, 9-2.
Communication, consistency. I know there was a third one. You gave the keys to success one time.
Communication, cohesion.
Cohesion. I forgot about cohesion. That's a good word.
Yep.
That's your 5-cent word of the day. Tapping buttons, rotating back of Attic. Still a 10-4 lead right now for Native White, and I love that trade that fight on the melee. He does end up getting traded out right after, almost able to preserve his life. But it looks like Barcode a little bit separate from the rest of Native White over there on the long haul side. Breaking Shot's the player to worry about. Plasma pistol in hand. Can't connect on the first. He's in a 1v2. He takes down one. Common might find a little pinch on himself as well. It's Native White finding those 2v1 scenarios and exploiting them.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like Barcode's just floating out there. That looks like part of the strategy for Native White, sending their best individual player on a little bit of a solo mission. But as long as the attention, you don't have to necessarily be in close proximity of your teammates, as long as you're looking at the same things. That stick bounces off the wall. Gilkey, unbelievable. Sticky there on Breaking Shot as the favorite continues to roll for Native White. But yeah, that's part of the strategy there. When you've got a player like Barcode, you can send him out on a solo mission. And as long as you even have so much, as much as just attention on anyone else other than Barcode, you can see him come in, clean up slays, and clean up the use of this camo.
Barcode, your mission, should you choose to accept it, go off solo, grab camo, wreak havoc on Proton Gaming. And Barcode, he accepts the mission, but he might have gone in a little too hot and heavy. He ends up getting found out and not enough damage to get a clean pick off of that camo pickup.
All right, we're at that point in the match where Proton had to grab the tourniquet Starts to turn it around the arm and stop the bleeding a little bit. Now down only 5 here, tapping buttons with the nice shots on Commmon. Another one of those veterans in the scene, been doing this for 10 years. Massive props to Commmon. As Proton, they're just kind of sticking around. They're staying in it, and that seems to be, that's part of their strategy, right? They're part of the underdogs here, so, or they're even against an open bracket team like Native White, absolutely an underdog team when you've got such a stacked roster like they do. So for Proton Gaming, if you're able to stick around going into the 25s, you're going to be in a good spot, but you got to be able to match lays. You cannot trade out like we just saw there.
Yeah, luckily Haines came out with a double kill on those trade out, but Posey goes down. Haines kind of left alone here, but luckily, you know, maybe the shock rifle grapple can mix things up. It looks like some backup here. A little change of hands here. Haines trading out the plasma pistol with the teammate. I don't know. I think that was breaking shot actually, grabbing the shock rifle. And this was something that I caught when I was streaming from my phone. Breaking shot absolutely went off with the shock rifle earlier today in pool play, so I understand where that trade of weapons is coming from.
Yeah, and he just popped off in that live fire game with a 16-2 spree, all on the backs of that sniper rifle. And it was the sniper rifle that wasn't in the hands of breaking shot for the latter part of that game. It's a big reason why Native White was able to come back. And here it is, breaking shot in the feed, takes down Mikwen. Opening break here. This is the moment to push down on the gas. You have the numbers advantage for just a moment. Can Proton take advantage?
And breaking shot, unfortunately, wasn't able to connect, but on the re-engagement, he finds the shot where he needs to, right within 2, and a little bit of a deja vu, a formal spree ending at the back of battery. Seems to be a death trap for those frag grenades, as breaking shot and the shock rifle both going down on the ground. But it's Proton Gaming, this time with camo. Barcode wasn't able to utilize it in the last round, but here comes Haines looking for that back smack. Barely ducks past 2 plasma grenades in order to get the double.
Unbelievable. That's going to lead to a 3 down. Yeah, breaking shot had the damage, had the shots with the commando. And if he can stay alive here and prevent Native White from holding on to that 4-kill lead that they've been able to maintain, this is looking better and better for Proton Gaming as breaking shot spots the back of an opponent, gets him down to low shields. You're going to let Commmon clean that up from across the other side of the map. Great coordination, communication, and teamwork there from Proton.
And cohesion. 25-25 across the board as Proton Gaming have found the answer back. We're still deadlock tied, but it's the solo player, Mikwen, who is caught out alone, scared, trying to duck back into that corner. But it's breaking shot with that still buffed commando, still strong here at HCS Charlotte. And breaking shot is showing us what he can do with that commando. He's going to opt to trade it out. That's the deadly catch, the grapple into the kill. Some chain reaction, some interlink damage. It's a triple kill. Looking for the overkill and stabbing buttons at the back of elevator. Breaking shot is closing out as quickly as he can. It's an extended overkill.
Oh, those are the plays that'll make the hair stand up on the back of your neck as Proton standing strong, now up 4 despite a 9-2 start for Native White.
A 4-point lead, and that was 4 kills right there for breaking shot. Not a running riot just yet, but the Slay's all that more important here because that's what Slayer is. Just purely get the kills up on the board, and you like a little bit of fancy footwork while you're doing it, using the grapple to steal the camo. If breaking shot wasn't deadly enough before, he has become twice as deadly.
Oh, and I love the discipline there from breaking shot. Notice that Barcode got the shield glimmer to be absolute, was starting to trail that reticule towards the head, realized all he needed was the shot to the knee to take him down. That's the type of heads-up playmaking skills that earns you things like a killing frenzy as Proton Gaming now are on fire.
Breaking shot, more like breaking hearts as the spree comes through. The frenzy is shut down, but the damage has been done. Proton Gaming was at a deficit, and now they're looking at an 8-point lead. Native White with much less time to mount a comeback than what we saw in game number 1. They don't need a mid-game adjustment. They need a late-game adjustment. And Proton Gaming have the map in their control.
Control in favor of Proton Gaming. It's a 2-possession, 2-team wipe game here, because they've opened up quite the lead, especially when you look at how Native White started off that match. Haines looking to get some distraction grenades, maybe some damage-seeking grenades with the plasma. Doesn't get anything. But right now, he's just looking to be a pesky thorn in the side. A lot of the attention there across over at the blue side. You have the 2 players from Native Red pushing up on that A side, and now Haines makes his move, and it's well-timed. Takes down 1. Can he land the double kill? Barcode smartly going to disengage, and there's 2 players there at the end of gold. down to no shields for Proton. So incredible decision-making, great discipline there from them, and it's a big reason why they're up 8.
Huge wins right now from Breaking Shot and Haines because they are starting to become outnumbered. It's Tapping Buttons rounds the corner with the double kill, sitting at 11-7. This top slayer out of Mexico is giving his heart to Native White. He's coming out with the kills when they need it the most, but it's not going to be enough. Watch out, Breaking Shot with another double kill, crosses that 20 kill mark.
Wow. 20 kills on the big stage. Breaking Shot is quite literally breaking out before our very eyes. And what a sight that is for Sore Eyes. Halo, the community, needing. I got a great established group of legendary veteran OG players, but need guys like Carmea, need guys like Breaking Shot, Neuronical, Collect to start popping off like we're seeing here as they're playing big on the biggest stage.
Yeah, Tapping Buttons another double kill. I mean, he is making the plays, but one player alone cannot carry Native White, and all of them with respectable stats, but it hasn't been anything to match up with Breaking Shot. I mean, primarily, single it to one. A couple of kills right here for Native White. They need to capitalize.
Okay.
They have the first 2 picks. They need to find 2 more. They cut the lead to 5.
Curious what that shock rifle might be looking like now. As all of Proton Gaming over here on the long haul side, and this presents a very precarious position for them because the pinch could be on and it could be deadly. As it looks like Gilkey making his move. There he goes. Gilkey making plays. Takes down Commmon. They have the numbers advantage, 48-44. It's close. Proton Gaming only need 2, but Native White now only down 4.
A 4-point game, but you can't afford to trade out on these kills. Breaking Shot is looking to get some opening damage here. Mikwen is actually rotating Whirlpool. 3 players from Native White, and they're going to trade out damage. As one player is weak and the other kind of fills in the place, and it's the 4th player. Tapping Buttons is on that solo mission across the map at top of glass. Neither team wanting to give up an easy pick.
48-44. It's an absolute standstill moment here, as you're going to have to check every corner. If you do decide to be the team that wants to push up and play the role of aggressor here, you have to think, though, Proton Gaming going to rest on that 4-kill lead, play a little bit, maybe not fully parking the bus, but a little bit more defensive as they maintain that 4-kill lead.
So in pools earlier today, that Rebellion upset, it was the Slayer, was the only game mode that Proton dropped in that series. They haven't been strong in Slayer up until potentially now, but Barcode has the camo. They're only down by 2. They have been chipping into this lead. This camo play could decide the fate of game 2.
That's the blessing and the curse of a lead in Halo. You start resting a little bit. You start doing the things that you weren't doing to get the lead in the first place. You start playing differently. As we see Proton completely parking the bus, but it's Native White who are totally okay with that down 2 here, slowing the game down. Proton Gaming potentially falling into the trap of the strategy here from Native White, and if one of those shots lands from the likes of a shock rifle, you will see a full push here from Native White. As they now, it's so important, Magic, that they have 46 because all they need now is a team wipe. So if they get that opening break kill, I'm expecting them to completely charge forward and clean the rest up. But we might not see that for a couple minutes here, or at least a couple more seconds, as we don't even have a couple minutes left on the clock. But it seems like neither of these 2 teams want to move. The emphasis, though, is going to be on Native White.
Yeah, the pressure on Native White, because they are the team that is down. They can't afford to wait out the clock. But like you said, if they can get the first pick, the first 2 picks, they are just one team wipe away from stealing back this game. We're down to 30 seconds.
There's the opening break.
Gets the opening pick. It's the shock rifle, perfect. 49-48. Barcode is rolling through. He's chasing down Commmon. Commmon is down to 1 shot. It's the team fire coming through. They did it. Native White. They came back. They did the team wipe. They get 4 straight slays, and Proton Gaming are left to think, why? Why do we keep falling just short in these team slayers?
I think they just rested a little too much, right? I don't think they slept on Native White by any means, but they absolutely slowed down the pace, and that's something you want to do, Magic, when you're down like Native White was. So we felt it. We felt like there was a trap being set, and that's exactly what the case was. So important, so strategical for that sort of standstill to come right at the 46 kill mark, because Native White knew that as soon as they got that pick from Gilkey, the green light was down, the checkered flags went down, and so too did Proton.
Proton, what a heartbreaker game 2. That game was in their grasp. and you predicted it so well. I got to give you credit because you are on a roll this weekend. But you said if they get that opening break, it's just a team wipe away from a win. And Gilkey lines up the headshot with that shock rifle off of, over a minute of standstill.
Yeah.
And full credit here because going from 0 to 100 miles per hour in about the course of 5 seconds is not easy to do. So you know that the plan was in place. You know that the trap was set. As soon as we get that opening pick, it's all go, go, go.
Yep. Communication, cohesion, chemistry, all on display there for Native White. And this could be, I know this team comes from the open bracket, but wow. The likes of an open bracket team placing top 4. Could Native White potentially make that lower bracket run? It feels like they might just have an SK. The likes of Fear itself, Hokum, Roy, and Lunchbox when they first broke out on the scene at Charlotte 2007 with an open bracket top 4 finish. Are we witnessing history once again in the form of Native White?
16 years later, same city, same storyline. I mean, wouldn't that be something to behold? And I just have to say, Native White, we didn't necessarily underestimate them. I think they were on the top of a lot of people's lists for coming out of the open bracket, but now that we are in the championship bracket and they're still out here performing, they're making mid-game adjustments, they're making end-game clutch decisions.
Yeah.
I mean, that's impressive. And you mentioned breaking into top 4. You know what team a lot of people had in their minds for breaking top 4?
Native Red.
Native Red.
Yep.
And so, unfortunate, heartbreaking circumstances with Native Red. And here comes Native White, picking up the torch and carrying it for the Native organization.
Yeah. Unbelievable when you think about what could be in store for this Native White roster. And it's not Mikwen, it's Lanwin. Because this guy, when he shows up on LAN, he just finds ways to win as we hop on board here for a crucial Game 3. Native with a chance to move on. Proton with the loss here goes home.
Proton were very devastated in pool play earlier today after they dropped to Navi, but with matching win-loss records in pools, it came down to the tiebreaker points that bring Proton Gaming here. But I remember looking at the stage, Posey's ahead, hanging down, such a confident, locked-in player.
Yeah.
And I have to think if this is a 3-0, you're going to see some more of the same. Proton, it's your time to turn up.
Tapping buttons in Native White, though. Turning up, but it's a pretty even display of slays here. Only a +1 advantage, it looks like, for that Native White roster as both teams feeling each other out. I've noticed a lot of slow, like you said, Magic, that 0 to 100. I'm seeing a lot of that. Yeah. I'm almost seeing like a lot of these games start off like with a 45-45 feel to them. And this is exactly what we're seeing here against Proton as Barcode finally has that flag out, patiently waiting for the slays to go down, playing through the process, making sure to check every box off the list as Barcode looks to put this one in.
I'm very concerned by how easy they made that look. Is Proton just checked at this point? Was it 2 heartbreaker games in a row? Because that's what that translates to. Barcode could have taken his time walking down the middle of the map.
Yeah, think about the mental. The difference between being in it, tied 1-1 in a series, having that opportunity in the swing game to swing things in your favor. Now that swing game looking like an elimination match as Proton go 2 down. Barcode with more of the same has another flag out.
Barcode literally running laps around this map right now. I don't know if we're at a Halo tournament or it's a NASCAR event because he is just cycling through. Flag grab and finally stopped short of that finish line. Proton Gaming, they might be temporarily checked, but they're going to bounce back. These are experienced competitors, and their head is in this game. You can't go back to game 1, game 2. It's all about the right here, right now. It starts with just one play, just one capture, just one game to start to build up a potential for that reverse sweep. We're on board with Commmon. 3 assists, no kills to his name right now. Playing patiently and rotating through, and here is where he's going to meet Gilkey. He was ready for that play. Gilkey rotates the flag right into his hands.
Wow. Bait in both scenarios, but the 2v1 help is there to take down Commmon. But the nade is there for Posey as he takes down Barcode, but numbers advantage still in favor of Native White. And now you have Mikwen, just like we saw Posey trying to bait here on the top car side. Might get a couple members of Proton here coming around the corner. Got to watch out. Mikwen is there, but he's not going to take down breaking shot. with the heat wave, but despite that, Native White putting in another flag, up 2-0 now.
And that second flag was off the back of a team wipe. Native White took Proton all 4 down, and they're trying to do more of the same to go down for Proton. Here's the push. Native White are full speed ahead. They're picking up at the pace that they ended the last game. Tapping buttons, rotating through the back of Proton Gaming's base. Teammate grabbing the flag. He's going to clean up 1 kill on Commmon. Only took a single bullet of damage. He's got plenty of health to work with. He's going to double back, recharge that shield, reload that weapon. Barcode, meanwhile, inching across the half-field line. He knows that the defensive line is somewhere, but he breaks through that hold, and it's Mikwen with the double kill. Tapping buttons is 1, and that's a 3-0.
You know what I mean? Can I make a prediction?
Do it.
We were talking about it. Native White is going to place top 4. Absolutely. I know it'd take a miraculous lower bracket run. I might be another one we look back on and say, Mac, you're faded. But I don't care. I go with my gut. I feel it. This Native White roster, you know most importantly why I feel this way, Magic?
Tell me.
Because they've not only gotten better from the qualifiers to Charlotte, they've gotten better from day 1 of Charlotte to day 2 of Charlotte.
Yes.
I was watching that G1 match earlier. They took them to a game 5. And if it weren't for Spectre popping off with 14 kills in a row, it would have been Native White versus Complexity instead. They would still be in the upper bracket. So when I talk about the eye test, when I talk about what I see and feel, I feel this Native White roster making a run here on Championship Saturday and Sunday.
You're never faded, Mikowski. You're never faded. You've had too many good predictions. One bad prediction is not going to cost your reputation just yet. But Mikwen is looking to take Proton Gaming and make it a little bit insulting. You saw the body shots coming out, maybe for the first time we've seen from this series.
Yeah, maybe he's finding. What's that movie? Stella's. No. You're fine. What's that movie? Stella gets her groove back. Put McWin. Somebody Photoshop McWin's face on that, because McWin is finding his groove here on the big stage in the biggest moments. That was kind of faded. Whatever.
2 kills for Proton. They're not out of the fight just yet. Maybe they are finding that groove. As long as you don't turn it into a llama in the process. I don't know. That's my groove reference. It looks like they're trying to get that goal line stand, and they do stop the capture. But, like, you know, the reason we're having the whole side conversation, it's a 3-0 game. So, yes, you stopped it from being a 4-0 game. That's the first step. But until Proton Gaming break that 0 on the scoreboard, it's hard to envision a comeback.
No. This Native White roster is worth talking about, because if we don't put the community on notice, I don't want you guys to be surprised when they do place top 4.
I'll give them top 6.
Okay.
I don't think your prediction is bad. I think that maybe that's what you took away from.
If we want to be
comment
safe,
earlier,
yeah, we'll say top 6.
Top 6.
Yeah,
so
safe top 6, absolutely.
Close.
But I'm going to go one further. I really see them maybe upsetting the likes of maybe even a G1. Maybe they run it back against G1. Maybe an SSG, right? This is the first LAN event of the year, and Native White are getting better and better every day. And even in the micro, getting better every single series.
Every series, every match, you're seeing a new layer to what Native White can bring to the stage. Commmon is pushing through. It's going to be a trade of kills yet again. Not outside the realm of possibility with over 5 minutes, and you can relay flags pretty quickly, but it's more banking on the strength that we're seeing from Native White. They're not going to let this game slip away. They had that comeback in game 1. They were down 0-2 on hills. They answered back with 4 straight hills. They're down in game number 2. 46 to... what was it? 46-48, and they get 4 unanswered slays on the comeback. They just know how to ice up when they need to. Barcode once again being the flag runner. Look at how free this is.
Yeah, this is we gotta point that out. You picked up on it, Magic. Barcode the flag runner, but he's also got the most slays on the team, and he's regarded as a main slayer on the team. Right. So here we see Barcode kind of being like water here, osmosis, shifting and shaping into whatever this Native White roster needs for them to make that miraculous lower bracket run, as they have the start of it here with a 2-0 lead on Proton, 3-0 lead in this match, looking to put a stamp 3-0 on this series here with just over 4 to go.
Okay, it wasn't a free capture. The capture didn't come through just yet. The reset instead comes through. So we'll call that a dollar store almost capture because they got 99 cents, 99% of the way on that flag run. But ultimately, it was the choice of Native White to not play for that fourth capture. They're playing for time. They're playing defense, and they're just locking down this game. And you have to think they're really feeling that confidence boost. You're talking about how they're improving game after game, series after series. They're continuing to ride that wave.
Yeah. Watch out because the open bracket has Charlotte on alert. Didn't get to see it. Maybe, I don't know, maybe all the open bracket teams collectively said, we didn't get any broadcast time, so let's make sure we make a run and force us onto the main stage. Native White looking to take everything that they feel they deserve. And, God, again, I just love it. Mikwen, let's point it out, helped develop Halo Infinite, a top 25 all-time player, could not play in the first season of Halo Infinite because of his involvement in developing Halo Infinite. So he semi-retires for a year, sits on the bench, watches all of this, chomping at the bit most likely to play. And it makes sense why. When you go and pick up a player like Barcode, assemble a roster like this Native White team, and you put together this type of a run on LAN, it's no wonder Mikwen is back.
Love to see him putting together a squad that could potentially go the distance in this championship bracket.
Double kill.
Tapping buttons gets the double kill. Fourth capture right at the goal line. Here comes Proton Gaming, and I want to give them full credit as we are, on the brink of kind of wrapping up this series. Proton Gaming, I got to talk to Scott this morning, the owner of Proton. He was one of the first people in the venue this morning. I strolled in at 9:30. He looked like he was comfortable sitting there waiting for those open bracket matchups. Had a great conversation. Very proud of Proton Gaming, as they should be, but lots of goals for the future as well. And so I think this is a great spot for Proton Gaming to build off of as the first major of the year. There's still room for growth, and they're starting to make a name for themselves.
Yeah, Proton Gaming. It looks like we might have had a disconnect, so we'll continue to let's show some love. Let's talk up some of these open bracket organizations and teams. Proton Gaming, I love them because they host their own tournaments. We've been a part of that, some of those JJ events in coordination with Proton Gaming, and you got to love it when these teams do more than just compete. Proton, one of the organizations that does a lot more than just compete. They really look to reach out and connect with the community, which I have a lot of respect for.
Yeah, that was some of the conversation we had earlier, but I don't want to give away too much. I like that there's things in the works there on the side of Proton Gaming, and shout out to Jagged Cloud coaching that team as well. Got to work with him a bit at Worlds, and a great, run for them here. Getting out of open bracket and then pool play, getting that upset on Rebellion.
Yeah.
They have a lot of things to be proud of.
Yeah, they have so many moments where they can hang their hat high. As I don't actually believe we'll go back into that game because I think with the 3-0 lead, I saw 2.5. Usually the HCS refs will give the discretion to Proton whether or not they want to run it back, and maybe they do, but I don't know. We didn't see anything there based on the eye test, the stats, the feed, the slays that said Proton had any chance to come back in that game. But it's not to say that they didn't have a great run here at Charlotte.
Yeah, love to watch them. They were so on fire. Open bracket last night. Honestly, one of the highlights was watching, that 3-0 sweep, a series that I expected to go to a game 5. I was wrong. So Proton Gaming, you already proved me wrong once by overcoming the odds to the open bracket. But I want to shift a little bit here, Mikowski, unless there's something else you wanted to throw in, because I want to look at what the next step is from this bracket, from this 3-0 Native White. And it looks like the winner of this series, Native White, going on to play Sentinels next. Can you start to kind of lay the table for what that would look like?
Oh, it's going to be a bloodbath. And the rage on the stage is going to be at an all-time maximum level because Sentinels is primed for an upset here. We talked about them in the qualifier, and I don't think much has changed for them. They're going to get a top 4, top 24.
Yes.
So they're, for Native White, that's the opening. That's the break. That's the matchup where if you take down Sentinels, you are so primed for that run.
Do you think that what you're seeing from Native White, Sentinels, I don't know what you would place them as. They're definitely a top team. This is definitely the next rung up the ladder. But if Native White takes on Sentinels, does that secure that top 4? We're getting close.
No, that would give them, I believe this is for top 6. This would be for...
Okay, close. Okay.
Yeah. And I think, honestly...
I usually do the math.
I really think Native White win that series against Sentinels. I think... like I said, I look out for the teams that look better and better. Even within the series, it's like, oh my God, they had a good game 1, but they got better. They looked even better in game 2.
Yeah.
A lot of teams topsy-turvy. Native White looked like they were going to continue the trend of higher-seeded teams losing that game too. G1 even to Native White earlier, losing that game too. Optics lost Slayers. FaZe is like all these top teams have lost the game to Slayers. So Native White clutching up there in a moment where other teams did it. That's part of the eye test I'm looking at that tells me they're absolutely up to the task.
And it does look like we're hopping back into that Aquarius CTF. When we left off, when there was a crash coming through, it was Native White 3-0. I don't believe that fourth capture made the distance, although there were multiple runs from Native White that had the potential for a full capture.
Yeah, I don't think so. It should be a reset. It looks like we will, in fact, have a reset. I'm just curious if we play the full duration of the clock. I have seen them go into the custom game settings and set the clock lower than the default 12. And if it does go, if it's a full 12-minute reset, like for Proton Gaming, it's kind of like a Mercy on a Trials of Osiris card.
Oh no!
The goal line stand. Native White gonna get a flag out. Oh, that's a backbreaker.
The counter pull came through at the last second. 1, 2, 3 went down. The fourth player desperating for the capture, but the counter pull stall came through, and I believe it was Mikwen. I wouldn't be at all surprised. Counter pulls right in front of Proton Gaming, stops that capture.
Oh, I love the recognition there from Gilkey. He goes down, but the instant recognition, when he saw 2 go down in the feed for his team, he instantly turned back and looked to help out. But just like that, it's Proton with another flag out. They're not going to get discouraged from that goal line stand. They're going to keep punching, keep fighting here as Haines looking to stay alive with that flag run, down to 1 HP and a dream. Can he stay alive?
Can he stay alive? Gets a pick. Haines going for the double kill. He finds 2. Whoa. He finds 3. Three players. Kill. That triple kill served up. And while that triple kill is happening, even more important, how it impacts the objective play. That's Commmon rotating the flag. And I wasn't going to count the capture before it hatched. Commmon goes the distance. That's the first capture on the board for Proton, and maybe that reset was just what they needed. Yeah,
look at Haines seizing the opportunity. It's almost like during that reset, he had a chance to take a deep breath and go, oh my God, guys, this is it. And it wasn't necessarily something he said to his teammates. I think it was more of an internal thing where he just realized he needs to pull up and put up numbers here if Proton are going to come back in this game. It's now 3-1, and if there's 9.5 minutes left in this game, Magic, this one's all there for Proton as they have another flag out.
I mean, we're seeing a different level from Proton off of this reset. They're putting up that first capture, and they're still coming out with slays, and a lot of that is Haines, 10-4. I'm calling him out right as he dies, but you still got to credit the double-digit slays. Barcode's going to be there for the reset. This flag is going to get sent back, and Barcode looking like he's about to match that level of aggression.
Barcode throwing a double on the screen as Magic throws her notes at the BNB.
He didn't need to know.
Looking like Tony. Shout out to Tony. Love him and his success. Killing it on the A stream. GG's, Tony. Miss you, bud.
We're proud of you.
We're so proud. We are, though. Absolutely. As we hop back on board here with Haines. Again in a situation where he's got no shields, trying to stay alive. Ooh, Barcode. Was that a body smack again from Barcode? He's such a nice guy. The smiling Aussie.
Have you heard the trash talk today?
You know what? I think he's got that ruin him.
Barcode, I mean, he's got the smile that'll fool you, but sometimes he comes out looking a little bit aggressive, a little bit, you know, adding some insult there. You know, honestly, matching the energy that Proton has brought off of that reset. Proton got that first capture, so maybe we need Barcode to get a little bit fired up, take it a little bit personal. And there it is. Oh,
Barcode.
No. Almost a full clip.
With enough shots in the dead body to send him off the platform he once was alive on. Unbelievable mind game and game match point there for Native White, as I believe they didn't put the score officially in the game, but they had it counting somewhere on the.
I think they were playing for time.
The back, or maybe playing for
time, because there was like approximately 3 minutes or whatever on the reset. So I think they were.
They played to 9.
That's my best guess.
That makes sense. As Native White 3-0 on Proton. This is a spicy lower bracket run. Maybe even a potentially legendary Halo lower bracket run. Just beginning.
Well, shout out to Proton Gaming. Their journey is going to end here off of that 0-3. Not the way they wanted to go out, but hopefully they can go back, fine-tune, polish up, and be ready for the next one. As we're going to keep an eye on Native White, see if they live up to Mikowski's prediction of top 4